joining us from a spot where I used to play when I was on a worldwide leader in sports, living in the state of Connecticut. It used to be called the Greater Hartford Open, the GHO, back when I was patrolling the grounds at the TPC in River Highlands in Cromwell, Connecticut. It's the time for the Travelers Championship, taking place after the U.S. Open this week. And joining us is a 2013 U.S. Open champion and the reigning gold medalist as well from the Olympic Games, Justin Rose, joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Justin?
Hey, doing well. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure to have you on. So, what? Let's start off right now. If you find a Callaway from 1998 somewhere off of the fairway on 11 in the bushes, heaven forbid, that's mine, Justin. Okay.
You've got to be sure to return it. And I'm sure there's a few more in that lake, right, on 16 and 17?
Oh my gosh. I would never expect you to go fish anything out for me, Justin, But
it's a great fun golf course.
I know, but it is, and I really enjoyed playing there. What do you enjoy about playing there at the TPC at River Highlands, Justin?
Do you know what? I think there's a couple of tournaments that are just great changes of pace after a major championship, and I think the Travelers do a great job of that. The hospitality that they show here. I think, like you said, the local community, this golf course, this has been home to obviously the GHO, but now the Travelers Championship for many, many years, and I just feel like it's one of those good feeling towns that we come to, and the golf course itself is a golf course that doesn't necessarily favor any type of golfer. If you hit it short, far, this golf course offers an opportunity for all of the guys to do well. So I think it's like I said, a great spot after a major championship where you've kind of had your brains beaten out, and you can kind of start putting your game back together, which is certainly my goal this week.
Well, so let's discuss your foray at Torrey Pines for the U.S. Open.
No, let's not.
Well, just what was your impressions of the golf course? Let's do that if you don't mind.
Yeah. No, listen, we can talk about anything you want, but the golf course I think was set up incredibly well and fair, and I'm still a fan of the U.S. Open playing tough. I think certainly they've backed off the last few years, and I think they have had great championships. But I think people do quite like to see the struggle, and they're playing difficult. But 6 under par is certainly not easy. And Jon Rahm, very worthy winner. And actually, to be honest, when his name crept up on the leaderboard the first couple of days, I picked him as my winner. I thought he was going to be tough to beat all week long, and it was definitely an epic finish. And he showed a lot of mettle there coming down the stretch and 2 amazing putts. So I think it was a great tournament. Hard not to feel sorry for Louis Oosthuizen again. There's so many second place finishes in the majors, and such a great player, and a player that I really enjoy playing with is Louis, because I feel like we play a very similar game of golf. So it's good to see that his style of golf is still holding up in majors and giving him the opportunity to win them, because we've obviously seen the guys that have been winning the U.S. Open have been very much that power type of game, with Bryson and Brooks, and Jon Rahm probably fits that model as well. But to see Louis up there having great chances to win is encouraging from someone like myself as well.
So, I mean, in terms of mettle, as you said, that Rahm showed it over the week as well as on Sunday. I mean, the month that he had, starting with what happened to him at the Memorial, and then, with a newborn, he hadn't seen his folks because of the pandemic, and they had now come to just see his newborn, and now he couldn't see his newborn and his folks, and then he needed 2 tests in a row in time for the U.S. Open. He found out just the week before he could participate in it. What did you and the rest of your colleagues think of what happened at the Memorial to John, Justin?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's just one of those most unfortunate possible events. It was the kind of scenario that we'd probably all been in somewhat waiting for, because we all knew that, with the procedures in place, that type of scenario was possible. And, we've been playing under these protocols for, over a year now, and there hasn't been that sort of tragic moment where the leader has gotten pulled out of the tournament, and it couldn't have been worse for John. I mean, 6-shot lead, playing incredible golf, Jack's tournament, but obviously with the fact he'd come into contact with someone who was positive, he was testing every day, and it was just the worst possible outcome for him. And then really obviously not being able to then prepare as he would have liked for the U.S. Open. I'm assuming self-isolating for the best part of 10 days, and really getting in late. So maybe that kind of freshened him up mentally. Obviously, his game was in a great place, and he probably didn't practice himself out of form. So from in hindsight, that mental freshness that he might have had and physical freshness probably paid off for him down the stretch. But certainly a roller coaster of emotions for him, and like you said, with a newborn son. It's funny how I've always found that players, you swing pretty hard one way or the other after having kids. It can be a distraction and tough to get used to, or people have just a greater perspective and tend to play well. So, John, fortunately for him, is sort of in that camp. So, I'm very happy for him and his family, and hopefully they can all spend some great time together now.
Yeah, I would imagine it gets easier, golf, after having a child. I mean, getting a newborn to take a nap, Justin, is one of the toughest things in the world. It might make golf, certainly on the U.S. Open course, that much easier. I mean, it's
funny how you tend to play more tournaments.
I love that. That is funny. So, Justin Rose here on the Rich Eisen Show. When you mention how you don't mind the U.S. Open being a difficult setup, are there colleagues of yours who do mind it? That hey, this is too tough even for us. Lighten up a little bit. Use the lawnmower a little bit more. I mean, is that literally what's discussed amongst you, amongst your colleagues?
I think so. I think the USGA and the players have had a tough relationship maybe the last decade or so, and there's been a couple of occasions where there's been a rogue pin placement that's made us look a little silly out there or whatever it may be. But the USGA, to give them credit, have done a great job implementing an awesome kind of player relations team, and they've really worked hard on sort of bridging gaps and building bridges, I suppose, with the players. And I think they're doing a fantastic job with their tournament. But I just think they're so concerned of putting a foot wrong now. I think that they're sort of once bitten, twice shy. So for me, they've taken their foot off the pedal just a little bit in terms of course setup, and and that's fine, because obviously you don't want the course setup to dictate or to influence the outcome of the tournament. You still want to sort of get the best player on the week, but I would just encourage them just to sort of not swing too far the other way. I think that's the identity of the U.S. Open. All the majors have their own little unique personalities, and I don't think the USGA should get too far away from theirs.
Justin Rose here on the Rich Eisen Show. So, what is your football team? And I don't mean American. What's your football team?
Well,
Justin?
England now the Euros are going on, but I'm a Chelsea. Well, are you talking about football with the feet or football over here?
I'm talking about football where you are. I'm trying to talk your version of the English language. I
am a Chelsea fan, so pretty exciting end to the season for us. Thanks
to the American, right? On the club?
Pulisic, he's been unbelievable. Obviously helped us win a Champions League, and which is an incredible result in Europe.
No, but what was your 2 cents on the Super League when it existed for 48 hours, Justin Rose?
Yeah, well, it was exactly that. To be honest with you, it kind of came and went before I even really got wind of it. I think I was practicing or I was traveling, and I didn't really pick up my phone or hear too much of the news, and all of a sudden I saw, when the news broke that it all had fallen apart, I felt like I came to it just a day behind everybody. But, listen, I can see what the model is, right? The best teams and the best players playing more often against one another. I mean, there's been discussion of that in golf even, but, you can't do it. It's ultimately, you can't just build things necessarily for TV. The fans are the heart and soul of these clubs, and, it's basically becomes, dare I say it, like a religion back home, and people, that's what they do. That's what their weekend is all about. So obviously they had pretty vocal opinions on that, and because opportunities to watch their team would be taken away.
Is there any, speaking of wind, is there any wind about a PGA or professional golfers Super League where only a certain, amount of players with a certain resume would play in that, and then there'd be a different tour? Justin, is there?
Yeah, I mean, there's been rumblings about this for many years. Even going back to sort of Greg Norman's era, and just again in the last 6 years, there's been rumblings of a sort of a tour that's been trying to get up off the ground, but without much success, to be honest with you. But I think those rumblings have definitely sort of prick the ears up of the PGA Tour, and I think help them really realize what's important to try to sort of incentivize the top players to play more often with one another, and maybe even as we go forward in the game of golf, just to try to maybe centralize some of the best tournaments in the world. So we'll see what happens, but it's definitely it's a very slow but a changing landscape, I think, in the world of sport right now.
Okay, so and your American football team, do you have one of those, Justin?
You know, I actually don't. Every year I say, right, this is the year I'm going to get into the NFL, and then obviously our golf goes on, and the playoffs are going on, and then I've kind of missed 2 or 3 games of the season, and then I forget to jump on the bandwagon. But you know, I would say I'd have to go the Eagles because Philadelphia has been a town that's been incredibly kind to me. So let's go the Eagles.
Okay. We can. I'm sure Philadelphia will accept your fandom for the Eagles. Have you played golf with a professional football player? Have you played with Brady or Rodgers? Either one of those 2 guys who's taking on teaming up with Phil Mickelson and who Brady referred to, the scientist Bryson DeChambeau. You played with any of those guys?
I haven't actually played with those guys. I mean, I've met them, I've been around them, and obviously great athletes. I've played Reggie Bush. Actually, he's gone golf mad since he's retired from the game.
Okay.
But
how is he?
Yeah,
how is he?
He's good. He looks good. He dresses well.
You gotta look good to play well.
That's
Justin.
it. He's grafting at it, but he's very passionate about the game.
Okay. Well, all right. So, should I assume you've already gotten your practice round out of the way with England taking on the Czech Republic in a couple hours?
That's it, yeah. So actually, I chose to spend a bit of time on the range this morning, just did some driver testing and things like that, just kind of working on a couple of the components that didn't go so well for me at the US Open. It's a golf course I know so well here, and it hasn't changed much, so the 18-hole Pro-Am tomorrow will be my first look at the golf course. Okay,
but so you'll be free to take in England's latest Euro Cup match. You're ready to go.
Sure will. It's been carefully planned this day. Yeah.
All right. Do you have a pint because it's 5 o'clock back home? I mean, do you do that? How does Justin Rose take in an England Euro Cup match?
I could stretch to a cup of tea. That's about the most English thing I'll do, I think, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon here in Connecticut.
Okay. All right, but are you calm? Do you get into it? Do you yell at the screen? What do you do? How intense are you?
Do you know what? This game, I think, it is really important, but there's some weird set of results on Monday, which mean that England have qualified one way or another into the final, the group stage,
16,
the knockout stage. So a little less intense today, but certainly as we get into knockout stages, I'm going to be back in England for the semi-final and final, and I just really want England to be able to make it, to have the opportunity to go and watch them with my son. That'd be incredible.
How old's your son?
He's 12 and football mad.
So he must be.
That'd be a great day. So I'm rooting the boys on for pretty selfish reasons, but that'd be great.
And he's young enough to know he's not going to be perennially disappointed yet, right? Am I wrong?
No, exactly. He's still hopeful, which is sad to see, but it's great to see as well.
You haven't sat him down and explained to him about how you've been through a lot. Justin, I appreciate the time. Thank you. Have a great time. Have a great time at that. It's a beautiful course, and enjoy it. I can't wait to watch it.
Sure is.
Be well.
Thanks, fellas. I appreciate it.
Thanks
Have a good
again.
day.
You bet. That's Justin Rose taking the time. I mean, the guy misses the cut. He goes 13 over at the U.S. Open, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll help promote the event and call." I mean, that's a
professional,
team player. That's a professional. Absolutely. And a good dude.
Absolutely.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.